Dupixent helps you do more with less asthma and can help you breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent is an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma that's not for sudden breathing problems. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Ask your specialist about Dupixent.
It's Couples Week.
And it's an ET exclusive.
Hollywood in love and on ET. And we're kicking things off tomorrow with Chrissy Metz and her boo Bradley.
Plus, award season rolls on. We're with
happening now.
Capital murder charges dismissed for 2 men involved in a murder back in 2020. What little the district attorney's office had to say. That's coming up.
And temperature-wise this week, you really have to plan for a little of everything. I'll be back to talk about how warm it's going to get, how cold it's going to get, and time it all out for you in just a bit.
And electric bikes are rising in popularity, but so are the fires that they're supposedly causing. What you need to know before you buy and charge an electric bike. The news at 5 starts right now. And we begin with a surprising decision by the DA. 2 of 7 people charged in the 2020 Capitol murder of a 19-year-old woman have had their charges unexpectedly dropped. Erica Hernandez gives us an update on the other 5 defendants and what the district attorney is and isn't saying about this case.
Each of these 7 individuals were charged with capital murder. All are accused of taking part in the death of 19-year-old Jasmine Williams in July 2020. Williams was fatally shot inside her home and robbed of her tennis shoes, piggy bank, debit card, and cell phone. On Friday, a jury was expected to be picked for Kyle Phillips's trial, but instead the charges were dismissed. Phillips will remain in jail as he is also facing charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and assault of a peace officer. Both of those took place before the murder. The capital murder charge was also dismissed for Dorian Murphy. Court records not indicating the reason behind the dismissal, only that the case is closed. Murphy is currently on bond for an unrelated assault charge. In the meantime, the status on the cases for 4 of the co-defendants remains unknown, but according to online court records, all have their next court date on May 1st. As for J. Mariah Pope Williams, in 2021, she accepted a plea deal in exchange for a reduced charge of aggravated robbery and testifying against her co-defendants. It is unknown if that plea deal is still in place as she remains in jail. So what did the district attorney's office have to say? Well, not much. In an email back to me, they stated because both cases are still under investigation that they could not comment any further. We will continue to follow this case as the remaining co-defendants still face that capital murder charge. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
San Antonio police still trying to figure out why a woman was shot near downtown. Officers were called to East Martin around 3 in the morning. That's close to South Taylor Street. According to SAPD, a wounded woman found with a gunshot wound to her shoulder. She was not cooperative, refused to share any information. She was taken to BAMC. Her current condition is unknown. Authorities say they are still investigating this one. A 33-year-old man arrested in Kerrville, accused of smuggling 2 people and leading Kerr County Sheriff's deputies on a high-speed chase. David Jarrett Klaber is of Beeville. He was taken into custody after this incident last Wednesday. According to the Kerr County Sheriff's Office, they were conducting a drug and human smuggling investigation when they found Klaber's sedan. They followed him, chased him onto the highway, reaching speeds of more than 110 miles an hour. When they caught him, inside Klaber's vehicle, 2 undocumented immigrants. Both of them were detained and released to the Border Patrol. SAPD's missing persons unit looking for a 69-year-old man who disappeared last week. Gregory Taylor, last seen on Friday, February 10th on West Hollywood Avenue. That's just north of downtown. He's 5'9", weighs about 200 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. Authorities say he has a medical condition and he wears glasses, as you see in this picture. He also has curly hair. Police are unsure what he was last seen wearing. If you have any information on his whereabouts, call police at the number seen on your screen. 3 more unidentified objects shot down by American fighter jets over the weekend. ABC's Justin Finch on how concerns are growing for U.S. officials on the 4 incidents that involve these Chinese spy balloons over the past 9 days.
The Biden administration sharing more insight about those 3 high-altitude objects shot down over the weekend.
I want to reassure Americans that These objects do not present a military threat to anyone on the ground.
On Sunday, a U.S. fighter jet fired a Sidewinder missile that took out an unidentified aircraft over Lake Huron, Michigan, that authorities say posed a risk to civilian aviation. Michigan Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin is a former intelligence operative.
The chances are this is just a normal run-of-the-mill thing that we and the intelligence community know how to exploit.
A day earlier, the U.S. shot down another object flying over the Yukon in Canada after President Joe Biden and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau gave the order. President Biden also ordering another high-altitude object shot down on Friday off the Alaskan coast. A U.S. official says these craft are believed to be weather balloons. It is still unclear where those objects originated, but these objects are much smaller than that Chinese surveillance balloon shot down in South Carolina 9 days ago. A U.S. official reporting progress on that search as a large portion of that balloon's payload has been recovered, including a fragment measuring some 30 feet long with technical equipment and antennas.
The Chinese spy balloon was at 60,000 plus, well outside commercial air traffic concerns. These three were right on the border of it. So there was a legitimate concern there.
And as for why the U.S. appears to be finding more high-altitude aircraft, Kirby says it's because the military has recalibrated its radar system to track smaller, slower-moving objects. Officials say the president has also called for an interagency team to focus on these kinds of objects and any potential risks they pose. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
We have new information this evening on a United Airlines flight from Hawaii that left people on board terrified. It happened on December 18th. Flight 1722 plunged more than 1,400 feet in about 20 seconds. Luckily, the pilots were able to pull the aircraft out of its fall and resume the flight without further incident. Now, the FAA conducted an investigation. They have not shared any results. United conducted its own investigation and decided to provide additional training to the pilots involved. The National Transportation Safety Board elected not to investigate the incident. Authorities in Georgia planning to release part of a special grand jury report on former President Donald Trump's actions in that state after the 2020 election. The judge in the case ordered that the release can't include specific charging recommendations by that grand jury. The special grand jury's introduction and conclusion will be made public on Thursday, as well as concerns the panel had about witnesses lying under oath. Charges haven't been filed in this case yet. The decision on that would be up to a separate grand jury. The federal government plans to buy up to 1.5 million more doses of the Novavax COVID-19 vaccine. The biotech giant says the purchase will help maintain the public's access to the vaccine, support the development of a smaller dose vials, and help support a smooth transition to the commercial market. The company is working on an updated version. Their vaccine specifically targets the Omicron variant and subvariants. That newer version could be available this fall. A disturbing new study shows teen girls in the U.S. experiencing record levels of violence, sadness, and suicide. According to the CDC's biannual youth risk survey, 57% of teen girls felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2021, double the rate for teen boys. Nearly a third of teen girls seriously considered attempting suicide. The CDC says both those metrics had increased dramatically over the past 10 years. Mental health experts across the U.S. calling for a complete overhaul in treating behavioral health care needs for children. A new study looks at records of more than 28,000 children ages 6 to 17 who visited the emergency room with mental health issues. Researchers found that less than a third of them had supporting outpatient mental health visits within 7 days after they left. Only 55% had a follow-up visit within 30 days after they left. Research has shown that follow-up visits with a mental health care provider lowers a person's suicide risk, raises the chances they will take their prescription medicine. Quote, death follows Syrians everywhere, end quote. Those are the chilling words of a quake survivor from northwestern Syria, where finding help is still very much a problem today. Almost every room in the Syrian hospital is filled with bittersweet stories of survival. They say many more should still be alive to share their stories, but doctors say they didn't have enough supplies to help them. The handful of medical facilities in rebel-held Syria are being bombed by the Russian and Syrian regimes and left the hospital staff ill-equipped to deal with the recent disaster.
We lost a lot of patients because of shortages in medical supplies. If we had them, we could have saved many more lives.
Families continue searching for their loved ones using anything they can to find the bodies. It's too late for survivors to be found now, many say, and the people of Syria just want to bury their dead. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky continues asking the EU to provide more weapons and tanks in an effort to fight against Russia. Carrying weapons made more than 75,000 years ago, the Ukrainian soldiers, made of veterans and new recruits, thankful for training with old American vehicles. They'll take what they can get. They're fighting in the Eastern Front with Russia near Bakhmut and Soledar. Their commander-in-chief, President Zelensky, continues begging the West for modern NATO standard equipment, and NATO seems to agree.
President Putin is not preparing for peace. He is launching new offensives. So we must continue to provide Ukraine with what it needs to win and to achieve a just and sustainable peace.
Now, Ukraine actually captures a lot of its needs from Russia. However, Army commanders made it clear they need more than just iron and willpower from old weapons to help win this war, which Ukraine expects will intensify in the coming months. Let's take a live look outside on our roadways this Monday. 410 and Babcock is where we're going to go, and you can see they actually have part of that roadway shut down actually on both sides. Looks like there was a traffic accident there that's kind of slowed things down, and even the access road, as you look off of 410 there, you can see a big backup as we head towards the end of this Monday afternoon for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, and actually our Monday afternoon ended above average by 5 degrees temperature-wise. 72 was our high temperature today. The average being is 67. Now take a look at the current reading. 63 in Lakey, up to 74 in Eagle Pass, even Floresville around 74 degrees. 72 now in Windcrest. It's comfortable outside, and it's only going to get warmer before things cool off over the coming days. We've got a strong cold front to talk about, but this evening, breezy. You'll notice that gusty wind, steady at 10 to 20 miles per hour, and then shifting and picking up early tomorrow morning. Also, damp, drizzle and sprinkles, but not the cold dampness. I mean, we'll be near 60 degrees tomorrow morning. 57 in Boerne, 55 in Comfort, right around 60 to start our day in San Antonio. We're going to talk more about that cold front and what it means to temperatures and if there's any hope for some good rain in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. By the way, that accident at 410 in Babcock, I think it was the westbound lanes, if I'm not mistaken. All right, you'd be surprised what household items in your home can cause serious injuries. How to protect your family from falling furniture, still ahead. And yet another thing that might be in your house is proving dangerous. What popular form of travel seems to be causing fires across the country? Teenagers learning the signs of dating violence from other teens who've been where they are. Tonight at 6, we're going to go over the red flags and talk about what to do if you see these signs. Plus,
the only way to stay relevant is that you recognize that growth does not happen when you don't change.
And change is what's happening on our east side. It has a long history as the heart of San Antonio's African American community. But people we talk to tell us that community is transforming. What we found in a new KSAT Explains today at 6. We are seeing more of them, electric bikes pedaling around town. There are also more e-bike fires. Just last week, a Virginia man died when the bike he was charging inside of his home caught fire. 12 News Side's Marilyn Moritz with what to look for when buying and charging that electric bike.
The battery from an electric bike is the cause for Thursday's fatal apartment fire.
It was scary. Those two children clinging to a pipe to escape their burning apartment where one man died. It's happening more and more across the country. Electric bike or scooter batteries exploding or catching fire.
When the lithium-ion batteries used in e-bikes are poorly made, overused, overcharged, or used with the wrong charger, it can cause fires, and those fires can be violent and difficult to put out.
Consumer Reports says some companies make cheap e-bikes and batteries and are finding loopholes to sell them on sites like Amazon. A search of Amazon turned up a lot of e-bikes priced just under $800. No coincidence.
There's a trade law that's unofficially known as the Amazon loophole that allows items under $800 to sort of dodge taxes and regulations that other products might have to go through.
Amazon says they continuously monitor for product safety concerns and, when appropriate, remove a product from the store.
Because there's a lack of oversight, it's really up to the consumer to look after your own interests.
So if you're shopping for an e-bike, he says look for the UL certified label. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for charging and storage, and use the power adapter and cord supplied by the manufacturer. Don't leave the battery charging overnight or while you're not home. Buy new batteries from the same manufacturer as your e-bike. And if your battery starts doing anything weird like hissing or smelling, unplug it. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Speaking of everyday objects that could prove dangerous, televisions and other pieces of furniture that aren't properly secured could have deadly consequences. The Consumer Product Safety Commission shows the years between 2019 and 2021 had 19,400 people treated at emergency rooms for furniture injuries. These are hard to watch. Between years 2000 and 2001, nearly 600 people died. Many of those deaths involved TVs, but there are ways to secure those.
Going down to the local hardware store for under $20, in less than 20 minutes, you can attach your television or your bookcase or dresser to the wall.
Yeah, remember to store heavy items in the bottom of your furniture like your drawers, and make sure there's nothing on top that would entice kids to climb. If you're able to use a wall anchor, that's the best solution. And make sure tuck the cords to the TVs and the other electronics, tuck them out of sight and out of the way. Sky 12 out and about as we look at the Spirit of Healing mural on the side of the Children's Hospital of San Antonio downtown, one of my favorite murals in town. And this is a nice day.
It was, a little warmer is what we're experiencing, and temperatures are going to be going up before they come crashing down. We've got a little bit of a roller coaster ride for temperatures. Also turning damp tonight and first thing tomorrow morning, and some gusty winds. I mean, not just one day where the winds are going to be gusty, but we're looking at a few gusty days. Morning low temperatures are going to be significantly different throughout the week. You need to plan for everything this week. Tomorrow morning, right near 60 degrees. We already talked about that. Wednesday morning, we're down to 48. And look at Friday morning, a light freeze, 31 degrees on Friday. So we're going to notice that chill later on this week. So don't put those jackets away quite yet. 70 degrees out there right now. It's pleasant. We've got a dew point of 52 degrees. The wind is coming off the Gulf of Mexico, so that gave us that little influx of moisture. And that's going to lead to some drizzle and dampness late tonight. Now tomorrow, temperature-wise, we'll be in the mid-70s. 75 in San Antonio. You get to 81 in Cotulla, Carrizo Springs, 80 degrees. 75 Stone Oak, Elmendorf, Von Army, about 77. Then on Wednesday, we're looking at 80. And I think there will be many locations across our area where we'll get into the low 80s for high temperatures on Wednesday. Then a strong cold front hits Wednesday night, and boom, those temperatures fall off. I mean, we're down into the mid to upper 50s for highs Thursday and Friday. So huge temperature swings. Thursday, Friday, you'll notice a chill and want a jacket ready to go. Let's talk about the wind. We said that southeasterly wind right now steady at 10 to 20 miles per hour. So it's noticeable, and it's going to be a little gusty through the night tonight. And notice our futurecast here, predicting these wind gusts of about 35 miles per hour at times tonight, and especially first thing tomorrow. The wind is going to shift and come out of the west, and that's when you'll notice those gusts of about 35 miles per hour throughout the day tomorrow. But after sunset tomorrow, as our futurecast shows, those winds really calm down. And with the very dry air and that elevated gusty wind, that gives us the high fire threat. It doesn't mean the weather is going to cause fires, but if there is a fire, it will spread rapidly, especially out near the Rio Grande and up into parts of the hill country. Quick look at our overall pattern here. We've got the increasing clouds. You see some green on the radar. That's just cloud cover that's being detected. It's not actual precipitation. We're too dry. We can't get that precip to make it to the ground. We do have this disturbance over Arizona that's giving us this flow off the Gulf, or off the Pacific, I should say, aloft, and that's giving us the clouds but that's it. All we have are the clouds from that, and then the drizzly dampness tonight, maybe a tenth of an inch, but probably less. Then turning sunny tomorrow. And again, we're making it back well into the 70s for high temperatures. Thursday, another windy day with the cold, so have a jacket.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Now the Spurs back in action tonight.
Yes, Malachi Branham, the Spurs rookie who's having a very good month of February, is returning home to see some of his family and friends there, and he's very excited about that, of course. And in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes did not let an ankle injury prevent him from winning the Super Bowl. Coming up.
Couple of them, not a lot, but just the people that's been there from the start. So,
Spurs Malachi Branham has a handful of tickets to pass out for his return to Ohio on game day. The San Antonio Spurs will continue the rodeo road trip tonight. The Cleveland Cavaliers and these two teams are going in the opposite direction. The Cavs are winners of 6 straight and 4th best in the East. The Spurs are second to last in the Western Conference, and they've lost 12 straight games. Spurs rookie Malachi Branham was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, before moving to Akron. After morning shoot around, he was asked what it was like growing up in that area.
It was good. It was definitely good, especially when LeBron was here. I got to come to a couple games when I was up in Akron, while LeBron was here. So it was good. It was good being here when LeBron was here, too. So.
Spurs and Cavs will tip shortly after 6 tonight. Doug McDermott is out with right Achilles soreness.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Kansas City Chiefs are on top of the football world after beating the Eagles 38-35 last night to win Super Bowl 57. The Chiefs trailed 24-14 at halftime, and they responded by scoring on every one of their second-half drives. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal to win the game. Late in the second quarter, quarterback Patrick Mahomes re-aggravated a high ankle sprain that he suffered 3 weeks ago in a playoff game, and once again, he powered through the pain to lead his guys to victory.
It felt great until I kind of rolled it a little bit. I thought I felt really good, and then that happened, and I had a lot of soreness going through into halftime, and was able to move it around and kind of get taped up a little bit and go out there in that second half. And it didn't feel good, but I was going to leave it all out there, and I'm glad it was enough for the win.
I think for me, we lost. We came here to win, came up short, so it's something that I know that'll motivate me. I've been here before. That's the beautiful thing about it. So I'll figure it out.
Man, the agony of defeat, right? And coming up at 6, Eagles cornerback James Bradbury will talk about his holding penalty that led to the Chiefs' game-winning field goal.
If you're Jalen Hurts, you're like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
Accounted for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, and still can't win.
And they lost.
He said he's going to learn from it.
All right. Thanks, Larry. We'll be right back.
Turning damp later on tonight. Probably by 10 o'clock, you'll notice a little bit of drizzle, and that's going to be the case through the early part of the morning commute. Then we clear out by 8, 9 a.m., and tomorrow's going to be actually very sunny, just windy. At least it'll be a warm breeze, 75 for the high temperature. Wednesday, we're up to 80, then much cooler Thursday. 50s for highs Thursday and Friday, with some noticeable winds as well, especially Thursday.
Yeah, don't forget Valentine's Day either.
Oh, that's right.
That's a note to myself more than anything else. We'll see you at 6.